Good evening, it's 8 o'clock this Monday night. Our top headlines. Bad news continues on COVID. It's India's worst day today. India has now surpassed Brazil in cases with the highest globally. Overall deaths have crossed 1,70,000. Some good news, an emergency authorization panel clears the Russian Sputnik vaccine. Final approval is awaited. India will now have 3 vaccines. India in a COVID crisis, but its election rallies as usual. In fact, the Prime Minister adds on more rallies today. He has 3 rallies today in Bengal, Amit Shah's road shows, Mamata Banerjee's rallies. This as data has shown that COVID has peaked in after elections in election states. And amid all this, the Mahakumbh lacks take Shahi Snan today at Uttarakhand. Who cares about COVID? This is really what's spreading the madness as we are battling our worst ever health crisis. Maharashtra all set for a lockdown. Class 10 and 12 state board exams cancelled. The Maharashtra Education Minister says cancel board exams as well. But how do the poor survive a lockdown? In NDTV's special report, they say we'd rather get corona than lose our daily wages. And in politics, the Election Commission bans Mamata Banerjee for violating the code of conduct from campaigning for 24 hours. It begins at 8 o'clock tonight. Good evening. We are currently in India's worst health crisis. COVID numbers at a record high. India is now at a global high, surpassing Brazil. But elections continuing as usual. The Prime Minister actually increased his rallies in West Bengal to a record 3 today. The Home Minister Amit Shah is holding road shows. Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister, also holding rallies. So amid mini lockdowns across India, huge crowds at campaign rallies and at the Mahakumbh in Uttarakhand. And we just can't pretend that this doesn't matter. Just look at how COVID cases have doubled in all the states which went to elections. West Bengal has seen a 378% change in the last 2 weeks as far as COVID cases are concerned. Assam, meanwhile, which ended elections, has seen a 331% increase in COVID cases. Remember, the health minister here said Assam has no COVID. Tamil Nadu and Puducherry have seen a 173 and 175% rise in cases respectively, while Kerala, where both the Chief Minister and a key opposition leader are COVID positive, saw an 84% rise in COVID-19 cases in the last 14 days. So yes, election campaigns also lead to COVID. And let's just look across India what people are going through. These are the disturbing visuals of dead bodies at a Raipur government hospital. Raipur, of course, in Chhattisgarh. Just look at how the bodies are wrapped up and just kept out because there's no place in the mortuary. They're kept out there. Some are even left lying on the floor. Can you imagine what the relatives of these people who've died are going through? Because Raipur's largest hospital has no place left for corpses. Average Chhattisgarh deaths have gone up sharply here. Just 1 month ago, there were only 3 deaths, but just look there at the situation today. And if that's not enough, across India, Maharashtra, Gujarat, reports of a life-saving drug for COVID, Remdesivir, just not available. People breaking down. As our reporters spoke to them today, they're waiting for days, forget hours, they're waiting for days to get a life-saving drug. So let's just look at what India's numbers actually are. We have now touched 1.68 lakh COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours. We are on track to touch 2 lakh cases in 24 hours within this week. Also, over 900 deaths in the last 24 hours. 1 of every 6 daily infections in the world is now in India. Our positivity rate is at 10.7%. That's doubled in 2 weeks. Let's just look at that curve. As we surpass Brazil, we are now the global world leaders in COVID, the second in overall cases after the United States. The difference of just over 45,000 cases between Brazil and India. We are the second worst hit in terms of cases, and in deaths, which are also rising rapidly, we are the 4th worst hit. Also, just look at India, how fast we've reached our latest million or 10 lakhs. 10 lakh COVID cases in just over a week, in 8 days. Just see how fast we've gone up. To add our latest million. With this rate of growth, we will be at 2 lakh cases per 24 hours within the next week or so. So joining me tonight are top doctors, because this is really about medicine. Shashank Joshi, Dr. Shashank Joshi joining me, is also a member of the COVID-19 Task Force of Maharashtra. I'm also joined by Dr. Harsh Mahajan. He's the Senior Vice President of Nat Health and Founder and Chief Radiologist of Delhi's Mahajan Imaging. And Dr. Neeraj Jain, he's Chairman of the Department of Chest Medicine, Sir Gangaram Hospital. Dr. Joshi, I remember we had you on NDTV 2 months ago where you warned that there was a spread of a variant and how action needed to be taken fast, genome sequencing, vaccination. Today, when you see what's happening in Maharashtra as it heads for a lockdown, as patients are crying for remdesivir, doctors are exhausted, what would you say?
So it's a very grim situation, and we should have nipped it in the bud, but the virus is more in the mind than in the body, and we are a very rebellious community at large. There should be zero tolerance for lack of adherence to COVID appropriate behavior and protocols. But there is some silver lining. Mumbai today has reported only 6,900. People will say it's a Sunday effect. But last 3 to 4 days, Mumbai has started reporting a TPR, tox positivity rate, which was around 27-28%, now coming down to 17-18%. And this is the 5th consecutive day where we are seeing a below TPR because we ramped up our testing exponentially. We had a maximum capacity in the last surge last year was around 18 to 20,000. Now we are testing around 50-60,000, and with that we are definitely seeing that.
No, so
the other thing is that the case fatality rate is still low, and clearly.
No, that's a very important point, doctor, that you're saying that Mumbai is coming down. Of course, Pune has reported 12,000 cases in the last 24 hours, but it's a good silver lining in Mumbai. And deaths, you're saying, is overall relatively low. But as we saw in many parts of India, also the issue of the larger question of each of those deaths is somebody's loved one. But I just want to bring in also Dr. Neeraj Jain here, because, doctor, there's so many questions people are asking on this, which we want to ask you, doctors. One, what is the main thing we should watch out for this new variant? Unlike last year where lessons were learned or we knew something, this seems to be behaving completely differently. Is that true? What would you say we should watch out for?
So yes, this year we've got a slightly different enemy. I think this one is spreading literally like wildfire. We may go on saying that most cases are mild, but that's not the point. With the numbers that are there now, even if the percentage of severe cases remains the same, we are overwhelmed. We are in trouble already. So the difference is this one is spreading very, very quickly. You literally have to sit and talk to somebody for 2 minutes, and if you've got the infection, you can pass it on to the other person. The other thing is that a lot of people still, what bothers me is that now the numbers are 100% of more than what they were last year when we were at our worst, and yet people are not bothered. People are still not cognizant of the fact that this is going to be a disaster much bigger than what we faced during the lockdown and during that time. And we have healthcare workers, we have public people who deal with the public falling ill like it's nobody's business.
Of course.
And most of them are suffering. And our hospitals are already full. We are having to open up more and more beds every day. This should not have happened. People should have had the sense and the discipline to say this is getting out of control, we need to take care.
I know, in fact, the doctors can't really say this, but as you're saying this, Dr. Jain, my top headline was the fact that there are record campaign rallies in West Bengal as we speak, and the Mahakumbh is going on. Now, of course, nobody's making any allegations against politics, elections, religious festivals are something Indians believe very strongly in, but the message going out is something that protocols are only for the poor. In fact, I want to bring in Dr. Mahajan. We know lockdowns also hit the poor often, so protocols are only for the poor, but the big leaders and religion can get away with it. Dr. Mahajan, I wanted to bring you in because Delhi has crossed 11,000 cases today. It's a new record. In fact, Delhi is now worse than Mumbai. We've seen what's happening in Mumbai. Beds are being set up in waiting rooms. There's no remdesivir. Is Delhi heading for a Mumbai-like situation? And does the vaccine actually work against this new variant? What are you seeing as you are in your testing and when you carry out lung X-rays?
See, the thing, Sonia, is that Delhi is already there. I mean, the way the numbers have gone up in the last 2 weeks is just amazing. We had nothing like this in the first wave. And also, as Dr. Jain has said, the hospitals are full. And every day you're trying to open more beds. and they get filled the moment you open them, because there are patients waiting. Today, what the Delhi government has done is that 14 large hospitals have been turned into complete COVID hospitals. But unlike the first wave, when the hospitals were more or less empty, there were hardly any non-COVID patients. This time, hospitals are already filled with non-COVID patients, routine patients who've come in for emergencies, for surgeries and all of that.
Right.
And so actually ramping up the beds is going to take time, because you just can't say you go back home now. They have to receive their full treatment. And that's why where we were able to open 50 or 100 beds at one go in the first wave, today you can barely open 10, 15 beds. So despite the government saying that this hospital now has become 100% for COVID, till the time you are able to discharge all the non-COVID beds, all the non-COVID patients, those beds are not going to open up. So it's going to be a slow procedure, and we are seeing that the healthcare system is already overwhelmed. Outside every hospital, there are patients waiting.
So
Number two.
Yes.
Yes, please.
I'll just come back to Dr. Mahajan, because I wanted to ask Dr. Shashank Joshi, because we've seen this already happen in Maharashtra. What we still talk about Maharashtra and Delhi, but what about when it happens in Uttar Pradesh, when it happens in rural areas? That will be the real challenge as well. Dr. Joshi, just the larger question, because we're seeing now vaccinations, we're trying to ramp up to combat the virus, but there's so many questions about whether are the vaccines that India currently has, and now a third vaccine to be cleared, are they actually effective against this new variant? And what about the worry over vaccine side effects?
So, Sonia, you asked two very important questions. Number one is the vaccine safe? So the question to that is very clear. Vaccines are safe, but both the vaccines, or now we have 3 vaccines, these are safe, they are experimental, they have emergency use authorization. All vaccines across the world have emergency use authorization. Second thing is that when there is a TPR positivity rate of 20%, which means 1 in 5 people will have a COVID positivity. In fact, last 1 month, every person who's going for a vaccine who can afford it, I do a rapid antigen on the day of the vaccination. I tell them to wear a double mask, and me and Dr. Mahajan are trying to champion this movement. Wear a double mask, maintain a safe distance when you go for a vaccination center, because vaccination center can be a trouble spot for a potential spread. Many people
so
are
double
absolutely
mask, you
normal.
mean N95 plus a surgical mask?
I feel a double mask always is useful when you go into a crowded environment or a poorly ventilated space. And most people wear a cloth mask. And I don't think in the current strain which we are seeing, which is rapidly spreading, and as Dr. Jain rightfully pointed out, I believe that everybody should use an N95 mask. It is available, affordable and accessible. And I think a cloth mask with N95 mask is mandatory. I know it can be suffocating at times. If you have a contraindication, ask your medical doctor. But wearing a double mask in a crowded environment like a vaccination spot is mandatory. And following an appropriate, COVID-appropriate norm at the vaccination site is equally important. This week is a vaccination week. And therefore, it is very, very important that when we cluster there, we take due care and precautions for the vaccination.
So, Dr.
But vaccination save lives. Yes. Vaccination clearly reduce severe disease. So, there is a clear role for these first generation vaccines. Remember, all these are first generation vaccines.
So, in fact, Dr. Jain, many questions came up when there were reports of over 30 Gangaram doctors testing positive, even though they had taken both doses of the vaccine. Is also with the international questions about AstraZeneca, which is Covishield in India, is one vaccine safer than the other to take? And if you're still getting the disease, many people say, why should we go through the side effects? What would you say as someone from Gangaram Hospital whose colleagues may well have tested positive?
Sonia, I think whenever we've spoken about the vaccines, no one who's knowledgeable has claimed that the vaccine will provide you 100% protection against the infection. We've always said, take the vaccine because this is the best available right now. It's not ideal, but it will at least cut down the severity of the disease, if not anything, and that is something we are seeing. So out of all the healthcare workers who tested positive in Gangaram, all of them have fortunately got very mild disease. And you know that you can't say that the vaccine has had no effect. Percentages, in my opinion, don't matter right now. I think these figures that we're saying, whether it's 60% or 70% or now it's down to 20% against a particular strain, it has no value. You have a vaccine, which is the only option you have. There is no other option. The vaccines are safe as they can be in the present day scenario. It's a pandemic situation. We are facing an emergency. the Indian vaccine has not been studied abroad. You see, we are getting a lot of adverse effect reports on the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is the one that we are taking in India, because this has been studied in Europe, in the UK, everywhere.
Right.
In India, we've not had enough people take Covaxin. It was also, like Dr. Joshi said, it was an emergency approval for the vaccine. So I think both vaccines are equally safe or equally unsafe, whichever way you might want to put it. But the point is, people should not go away saying that, oh, there's no point taking a vaccine. Please take the vaccine.
It's the only weapon we have. In fact,
Absolutely.
Dr. Mahajan, what I wanted to ask you, one other big concern is that many people are getting negative tests, getting their test negative, yet the lung CT scan shows that they actually are COVID positive. And what would you tell all our viewers that what is the thing they must watch out for so that they can get to hospital in time? Because again, there's that worry of people coming to hospital late. And is it true that children are more at risk with this variant and younger people? Because again, there's a huge concern all our viewers have.
First thing, Sonia, we still don't know for sure that this is a variant. We believe that this is a variant till such time adequate genomic sequencing of the positive samples is done. We cannot say for sure. But the way it has gone, we all believe that this is the variant. And actually in Punjab, 80% of the samples tested were of the UK variant.
Yes.
So from there, one believes that Delhi is not far and that's how it will be. But still, we need to test more. The genomic sequencing has to be done.
Yes.
Point number 2, I think the fact that RT-PCR tests may be negative and the CT may be positive has been overhyped.
Okay.
It has been like that right since the beginning. We've had several patients. I mean, it's a minority. It may be 2%, 3%, if we stretch it 5%, where repeat RT-PCR tests may come negative. But in this pandemic situation, the clinical picture is that of COVID. And in those patients, when we've done a CT scan, because we believe that they are COVID, but the RT-PCR is negative, we have found lesions which typically appear in COVID.
Right.
And based on that, they've been treated for COVID. And some of them in their second test or third test have come out positive. But there is a narrative going around that along with RT-PCR, you should do a CT scan. That's an absolutely wrong narrative. There is no scientific basis for it. And so do remember that there's radiation involved. I'm a radiologist, but I'm saying it. There's radiation involved. In the specific instance, it is very, very useful
So
where you suspect it.
Thanks for clarifying
Number 2,
that.
a CT scan. Yes, a CT scan is very important in severe disease or even in moderate disease to determine whether you should start steroids, remdesivir or not, and then to follow up a serious case to know whether he's improving on treatment or not. But this is gross overhyping, and this is happening in some states of our country.
Right.
And I think this is not correct. As far as children, what we are seeing is that whole families are now getting affected. Previously, it was 2 out of 6 people in a family who would be affected. And now we are seeing, and that again leads us to believe that this is a more infectious strain. It is different from the strain that we had last year.
Right.
And yes, it is a fact that children as young as 8 months, 10 months, which we didn't see so much of last year, are getting affected and infected.
So even more a reason to just stay home. But finally, doctors, Dr. Jain, Dr. Joshi, Doctor, you said it's an emergency. Dr. Joshi, what would you like to tell all political leaders, all religious leaders at this point? How can we expect the average Indian to do something when we see every day as our headlines, the powerful people doing something else? What are the final words from doctors on this? Dr. Joshi and then Dr. Jain.
I think we have to be responsible. And I think they have to self-regulate and be responsible. And I would stick my neck out to say, again, after 2 months, that this is a clinical different phenotype. Whether the genomic correlation is there or not will happen later, but clearly this is a different phenotype. I mean, clinically and public health-wise, this is the fastest spreading strain. You may keep denying, even after 2 months, that the genomics is different and all that, but I'm willing to stick my neck out on it. And both my colleagues here would agree with me that this is a different strain, and each one of us has to be responsible. And I think there is no exception. COVID virus doesn't distinguish who you are. Every human being on planet Earth, rich or poor, political, non-political, religious, non-religious is affected. So we have to be responsible, period.
Exactly. There are no VIPs in COVID. Dr. Jain, final thoughts from you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can't point fingers at each other. Each one of us has to sit back and say, okay, look, let me do my bit. Let me restrain myself. If I don't have to go out, I won't go out. I won't meet people. You know, people are not thinking whether politicians, rich, poor, it doesn't matter. People should think of the healthcare facilities.
Absolutely.
I belong to a healthcare facility. I know the kind of stresses that the healthcare workers and the hospitals are going through again. You know, it's a shock that people can't even understand how doctors are trying to now pull themselves back up again and say, okay, we've got to deal with something that is partly the fault of people who have not been responsible enough. I am willing to say that, you know, on record, that people should behave a little more responsibly from now on.
Absolutely. And really our salute to all doctors, all of you and healthcare workers who are out there really putting their own lives at the front lines of this battle, which is showing no signs of being over. Thanks so much. And again, as he pointed out, that we talk of lockdowns, and of course, this may work to break the chain, but what is the impact on the poor? Let's look at this report from Maharashtra, where it's clear there should be a lockdown, as indicated by the Chief Minister, within 1 or 2 days.
Long queues outside the Lokmanya Tilak terminus in Kurla. Reminder of last year. These were pictures that we saw last year here at the LTT, and if you look at it now, it resembles what we saw last year. People fleeing because the lines are long, the trains are few, space is not easily available on the trains. So people have turned up at the station hoping to find a train to take them home. Several of them are leaving because of the lockdown.
Standing in the April heat for hours, a scramble for water being distributed free. Railway policemen constantly making announcements asking people to maintain social distancing. Mumbai is most vulnerable if a lockdown comes into effect. Taxi drivers, shoe polish men, construction workers and small shopkeepers. With construction activities, places of worship shut, the situation is already bad. The Siddhivinayak temple generates employment for thousands of people. All fear more restrictions. 45-year-old Santosh Kesare says he will go back to the village in Kolhapur this time with his family of 4. Last year, he had stayed back. His earnings have come down from rupees 1500 a day to 500 a day. And a lockdown will be the last straw.
अभी ये सिद्धिविनायक में इधर से उधर तक लाइन लगता है. अभी धंधा ही नहीं, लाइन ये 1 घंटा इधर खड़ा है मैं.
तो यहाँ पे सिद्धिविनायक भी बंद है क्या?
बंद है, मंदिर बंद है.
63-year-old Sunil Pawar has been running this small shop for 40 years. From 6 employees, before the new restrictions came into force, he has just 1 left. He sells Mumbai's favorite snack, the Vada Pav, just outside the Siddhivinayak temple.
कर्जा में तो ऐसा ही हमारा कर्जा में ही दुकान डूबा है अभी फिलहाल. अभी गवर्नमेंट ने सोचना चाहिए लॉकडाउन कैसा करने का, क्या करने का. ये अभी लाइट बिल तो 60,000 आया है बिल, कैसा भरेंगे अभी.
35-year-old Arvind Ram from Bihar says some people he knows are planning to leave. He used to earn rupees 300 a day. Now he barely makes enough to have 2 meals.
सर लॉकडाउन ही हो जाएगा तो हमें पब्लिक से ही कमाना है साहब. लॉकडाउन ही होएगा तो क्या करेंगे हम. बस यही है कि सरकार से यही विनती है, अगर पूरे तरह से लॉकडाउन कर रहे हैं तो सर जरा गरीबों पे जरा ध्यान दे. हम लोग जूता पॉलिश करने वाले हैं. बस यही है, थोड़ा सा अगर किसी से मदद मिल जाए हमें, अच्छी बात है साहब.
Construction workers from Bengal have already started leaving the city. This group of workers from Birbhum district have already booked their tickets for 19th April.
है, सब कारपेंटर है, मतलब बिल्डिंग बनाने वाला, प्लास्टर बनाने वाला, ऐसा सब बेकार मिस्त्री है. 42 आदमी है बंगाल का, वेस्ट बंगाल का. हम लोग को भागाना है, मतलब गांव तो जाना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो यहाँ पे बैठ के क्या करेगा.
But the trouble now is getting tickets on trains.
इधर से कैसे जाए घर पे. बाहर उधर पुलिस पकड़ रहा है, उधर टीटी पकड़ रहा है, तो कैसे जाए. पैसा नहीं है खाने का, तो टिकट का पैसा कहाँ से लाऊं.
Many are now coming to stations to somehow find a train home. The railways have asked people not to arrive at the station without confirmed tickets.
This is the situation in the Lokmanya Tilak terminus of Mumbai, which is one of the places that has a major, crowd or major capacity of trains leaving for UP and Bihar. In Mumbai with camera person Sanjay Mandal, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
So remember, it's the poor that are most impacted. So all the doctors in the show just now appealed that everyone should be responsible. But let's look at what's happening right now as we're speaking. In Uttarakhand, today is the day of the holy Shahi Snan. Over 4 million visitors are expected to be here by tonight. Akshay reports.
It's hard to grasp that these crowds have gathered on a day India's seen a record high number of COVID cases. On a day it's overtaken Brazil with the second highest caseload. Over 2 million visitors are in Haridwar today, many unmasked and no social distancing. For an auspicious day in the ongoing Mahakumbh Mela. Some of the devotees are in denial even after a prominent Kumbh cleric tested positive for COVID a day earlier.
कोई कोरोना का बैन नहीं मान रहे लोग यहाँ, सब ड्रामेबाजी चल रही है, कुछ नहीं है कोरोना.
Others question the government over the election rallies taking place.
5 जगह जो चुनाव हो रहे हैं, क्या वहाँ कोरोना नहीं हो रहा है? ऐसी भी क्या धर्म के बारे में ज़्यादा सख्ताई ठीक नहीं है ना?
In all, a staggering 4 million visitors are expected by the evening. The government says only those with a negative RT-PCR test are allowed.